Right. Hello, my friends. Dorothy here, professional astrologer. We're going to talk about the full moon in Cancer that's coming up on January 17th. It's a strong one. This full moon, I'm going to talk about patterns that it's connected to. It's also connected to Pluto. It's a biggie. So let me share my screen with you. I'm going to share the Solar Fire software as I usually do. Here it is. Let's grab that. Before the full moon, honestly, we have the moon Pluto, sun Pluto will make their conjunction on the 16th Sunday. And that's an annual event. So, which is, it's a big deal or not a big deal. It depends on you. It's all about, our own power and control. And then we have just after that, we have the full moon. That's what it looks like right here. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And then we also have Uranus goes direct on the 18th, just after the full moon. So yay, right? A lot of things happening around this full moon. So let's get back to the one I wanted to see. I'm going to stop my share for a second. I have something going on that's funky here. We'll go back to it now. There's the full moon, and I like to put up the declinations. So there we are. All right, full moon. Move my face out of the way. I do not include the ascendant and midheaven in these forecasts because everybody who's watching this is somewhere else in the world than just where I live. However, the planetary house placements is for my latitude and longitude, which you can see over here in the top left. Now, one of the things we have with this full moon, first off, the moon is out of bounds in the sign of Cancer, and that means, and in the Cancer, it's the final aspect the moon makes in the sign of Cancer, is to the sun as a full moon, right? Opposite Pluto, which creates a void of course moon. So, and this is an emotional moon. I believe this is going to be one of the most emotional moons of the year, full moons of the year. The moon moves through Cancer every month. However, to me, I feel this is going to be quite significant. So, of course, there's plenty of reasons to be emotional and feeling overly emotional or upset or whatever. But when we have, there's just so much going on, just between family and friends and the loss of people and people being sick and people, all of it. It's overwhelming. It's been going on for far too long. So we're going to find some normalcy, hopefully sooner than later. Now, when the moon is full and she's in her own sign, the things we're focusing on, of course, again, as I just said, is the emotion of things, how we're feeling. But we're being made aware. A full moon creates an awareness. What comfort do I need right now? What comfort can I supply for those who I love? And the sensitivity of all of this can be extremely high. So if you're, a sensitive person or consider yourself empath, then I want you to be aware that as the moon is moving through the sign of Cancer, and it becomes full here on the 17th of January, be aware of what's going on. We need to monitor how we're feeling as we get closer and closer to this Cancer full moon. Now, there's a lot going on with it as well. So we can see here, let me just grab my drawing tool. I like to draw just with this. You guys know. So we have, here's the moon in Cancer that we're talking about. It's in an opposition to the sun and Pluto. The sun and Pluto. Pluto just made that conjunction on the 16th with Pluto. Sun-Pluto conjunction, power, control. What am I learning about? How am I evolving? And we also have the moon making a sextile to the lunar north node and a trine down here to the lunar south node. And then, of course, the sun Pluto are in the sextile to the south node in Scorpio and a trine to the north node in Taurus. I know a lot of astrology. What does this mean? Let me just clear everything out. What this produces is what's called a mystic rectangle. You can see that right there. a mystic rectangle. So there's a few components to this. So let's talk about them. So first off, with this full moon, so closely connected to those lunar nodes, very tight aspect. This is those lunar nodes as they're transiting represent humanity's collective purpose at this point in time. At this point in time as well, depending on the nodes that you use, I use mean nodes. The true nodes aren't quite into Taurus and Scorpio yet, but it is still within the range of the orb that we use for sextiles and trines. However, using the mean nodes, when we have a mystic rectangle, this means that everybody is in the yin energy, the receptive energy, the feminine energy, and those elements are earth and water. So this is an incredibly receptive, mystic rectangle at a full moon with Scorpio involved, the south node, that collective south node. And again, that's what are we learning to shift? What are we letting go? How are our values changing? The north node in Taurus. We are transforming and changing. This is across the board. Those lunar nodes will be in Taurus and Scorpio for approximately 18 months to go. That's where the eclipses will be in 2022. So we as a collective are looking at how we're releasing and letting these things go, how we're changing and transforming and evolving. We're in a major evolutionary state right now. This mystic rectangle, this full moon, also interacts incredibly tightly with the United States Pluto. Not everybody listening is from the United States, I understand. We're in a Pluto return. It has been very messy for quite a little while now. And so the things that we want to pay attention to and we want to watch is collectively, especially, but we can see this in our own personal lives. You can do this on both levels because we need to. The more shadowy sides of what Scorpio can represent. Again, because it's full moon, it connecting with the south node in Scorpio, and it's connected to Pluto. Pluto's the ruler of Scorpio. So some of the shadowy things that are and still will and still can come to the surface. It's being power hungry. It's being the violence that we see. It's very disruptive. A lot of jealousy and cruelty, a lot of vindictiveness, all of these really deep, nasty things. We're distrustful and suspicious of things, and things feel deceptive, and it's all around us. It depends on what your vision is, what you see in the world as to how dominant those energies will feel. But we want to move beyond, we do need to move beyond that, but that doesn't mean it's still not happening. So your focus, we honor what's coming to the top, what's coming to the surface. There's a lot of shadow work that we can do personally, right? What is shadow work? Shadow work means if you're aware enough that you react to things, that means there's something deeper inside that needs to come to the surface so you can look at it, examine it, say, oh, why am I reacting like that? And not as a judgment, but as an awareness, so you're able to move past that and move through that. So it doesn't have that control over you. That is what these 4 points of this mystic rectangle are speaking to and initiating. All right, so that's a piece of what that is, right? So that mystic rectangle is just so important, and we have this period of emotion, with this full moon and awareness of what's coming to the surface. That's very Scorpio. All right. And then how can I process this? What can I release now? And full moons are about releasing and letting go. And they really are. Now, there are a lot of people who like to do rituals, whatever it is you like to do. Personally, I don't like to do banishing rituals, but I do like to do releasing rituals. And I had a dear friend, and she's got a PhD in metaphysical doctor stuff, and she's just so beautiful and reminds me when it is time to let go of certain things, it's important that you do it with compassion and love and release the things that aren't working for you anymore. Now we can do this from just the last 2 weeks, because this is the 2-week lunar phase that we're in from new moon to full moon. However, we can go at the longer picture, which is the lunar gestation phase, which is takes about 3 years. I'm going to talk about that in the second half of this video, but that's going to be on my membership platform on Patreon. If you're watching this here on YouTube, please come and join us there. And I do this every month. You always get extra stuff on Patreon. It's a way to support me for the free content that I've been putting out here since, 2009, I think. It's been a long time. So anyways, join us there for more in-depth. But to continue, with this full moon in Cancer, allow these things to come, sit with yourself for a little while, find a way to get that empty space for yourself, because again, this moon is so sensitive. Like I said, in Cancer, this is water and earth, and then more earth and water. So we have all of these things happening. I'm going to stop my share. So I want you to process in your own loving way what it is you want to release. And you can release however you like. I like to write stuff down and just burn it. I like to just cut cords, whatever. I just do whatever I feel like I want to do at that point in time. And sometimes stuff even comes back again. So we have to do it at another level and another layer. But continue to do that. That's what the full moons represent, is a full, complete, total awareness. But if we're afraid of our own shadow, that's the Scorpio qualities present, the Pluto, conjunct the sun opposite the full moon with the south node in Scorpio. If you're afraid of your shadow, then I recommend you look that up and see if you can find someone to help guide you through that shadow work, because that's really important process to be doing right now. And if you have a direct aspect with this full moon, that 27 degrees of Cancer, Capricorn opposition, that means Pluto's been in a certain area in your chart for a long time. This full moon will stir up some things that you may not know about, and it will help you to evolve. All right. And lots of times, we can handle things in the moment, because that's what we need to do when it comes to a lunar cycle, to a lunar event. But the Pluto's moving very slow, and it's going to be in that vicinity. It's going to be a couple more years for the United States to figure out what it is that we're changing into. And again, if that Pluto is making a direct connection to something in your chart, within a couple degrees, then you're going through something too. And it will take a few years for us to fully process what's happening, even though we have momentary things to work through, which is part of the process. A trip, 1,000-mile trip starts with one step. And that's what these lunar aspects do. These full moons, new moons, they give us momentary opportunities to understand things. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. More on Patreon. And thank you so much for being here. Please share this with others. That would be fantastic on your platforms. I would love to spread the word. Blessings, everybody. Namaste.